Hi soulmates, welcome back to another beautiful tutorial with Eco Designs to Fit. I am Chinwendo, and in this very video today you're going to be learning how to make this beautiful gown. You can see it has a keyhole neckline on the back and the front, but that was a corset you saw the lady wearing. But mine, I'm going to be converting it into a bustier. So because I don't want to draft on my fabric, I have a paper right here which I'm going to be drafting out my pattern first before we transfer to fabric. Okay, this is actually the cutting process. Okay, so I've marked out a starting line, and from this starting line, which is the shoulder line, we are going to extend our tape vertically and mark out the bust point, which you can see is 11 inches, under bust 14 inches, and then the half length, which is as well the waistline, is 17.5 inches. Okay, so for this very tutorial, you're going to be needing your busts, your waists, your under bust measurement, and your shoulder measurement, and then your back length, because this is actually the half scale that we are drafting right here. Okay, so I've labeled my line. As you can see, I have the shoulder, bust, waist, and half length. So right on the shoulder line, I'm going to take my shoulder divided by 2, and right there I have 8.5 inches. Okay, my shoulder divided by 2 is actually 8 plus half an inch for stitching allowance. Now from this shoulder line, I'm going to come down with 1 inch because our shoulder is not straight. Okay, so that is going to be our shoulder slant, and from this shoulder slant we are going to take down to 8.5 inches, which is going to be our armhole depth and at the same time the chest line. Okay, how to go about getting this is either you are coming up from the bust point by 2, or you divide your round bust circumference by 6 plus 1.5. Now I've connected the armhole depth and then the chest line, as you can see. So the next is for me to divide this armhole depth by 2. So you can see what I'm doing right there, and whatever I have, I'm going to mark it, and then I'm going to go inward by half an inch. Okay, that would be for my front armhole. Okay, and then I'm going to make use of my straight ruler to connect it to the shoulder slope. And once you're done with that, you're going to leave it that way, and then from your center front you're going to extend your tape to the chest line and divide your bust by 4 plus half an inch, because I like inputting half an inch for my armhole ease. And right from there you're going to have to connect it to the armhole. Okay, just like this. So the next step is for us to finish up our round measurements, body measurements. So my bust divided by 4, I'm going to input that, and then I'm going to leave the under bust and go straight down to the half length, which is the waist. So I'm going to divide my waist circumference by 4. Whatever I have, I'm going to input that and then connect the lines together. So this is our basic bodice block that we have right here. Now we are going to go ahead and input our neck line. Okay, so I'm going to be making use of 4 inches for the wideness and then 4 inches for the depth. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and use my French curve and connect the wideness of my neck and the depth together. So you guys, right here we have our full body block. Okay, so from the center front, I'm going to come in by 4.5 inches. Okay, so divide your nipple to nipple by 2. My nipple to nipple is 8 plus half an inch, so I have 4.5 inches, and I'm just going to mark it from the bust point down to the waistline and use my straight ruler to connect the line together. And then right on the shoulder line, I'm going to divide it by 2, and whatever I have right there, I'm going to connect it, okay, to the bust point. Can you see? And from here, I'm going to, from the bust point, go down by half an inch. Okay, and then on the waistline, I'm going to take my dart intake. So I'm going to be making use of 1 inch, meaning that right on both sides of my pattern, I'm going to go in by half an inch on both ways, and then connect my dart legs. Okay, so right from here, we are going to replace this dart that we took out from the waist. Okay, so to replace it, we are going to go on and then replace this 1 inch, and then also right on the under bust, we are going to replace whatever we have there, which is half an inch, and then we connect this to the chest line. Okay, so next step from here is for us to measure what we have right on the under bust. So what I have right there, I've measured it. So what I'm going to do now is to divide my under bust circumference by 4. So whatever I have, I'm going to input and then check what I have remaining right there. So whatever I have right there, like here I have 1.25. So what I'm going to do is from the dart leg, I'm going to take into the center front 0.25. okay, and on the side front, I'm going to take in 1 inch. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and connect it to the waist. Can you see the dart leg of the waist? And then I'm going to use my curve ruler and connect this to the bust point line. Okay, so can you see our bustier is coming out perfectly well? And then I'm also going to use my French curve and connect this line into the bust line. Okay, not actually on the bust line. You can see where I connected that. So I connected it to the half an inch that I came down before the bust points, and that half an inch is actually to create room for your bust to fit in. Okay, perfectly well. So what I did next was to measure what I have in between the bust points and the under bust. I had 3. So from the bust point, I'm going to go up by this 3 inches and then mark. Now I'm going to rule my chest line across, because that is where I want my neck line for this dress to fall. Okay, now on that 3 inches mark, I'm going to take in my dart, that is my over bust tightening, and I'm making use of whatever that I have right on the under bust, which is 1.25. So on that side fronts, I input 0.75. that is about 3/4 of an inch, and going over to the center front, I made use of 1/2 inch. That is in total this is 1.25 inches, and I'm just going to quickly connect this line into the bust point. I hope you guys understood. So the next step I'm going to do right now is to connect my neck. Okay, so I'm going to be making use of sweetheart neckline, which you can see I've connected, and then to the that leg of the side front, I'm going to connect it into the armhole. You guys take note of how I'm connecting this line. You can see the way I turned my ruler. Okay, so that is it for my bustier. So this is going to be my yoke. Okay, that is going to be my front yoke, and for this that I'm going to blend the line into the neck. Okay, so that once I want to cut it, I'll cut them together. All right, so this is it. Now I'm going to replace this my over bust darts to the bust chest line, sorry. So you can see I've replaced that 1.25, and I'm going to just go ahead and connect it to the waistline. So can you see? Now it's time for us to go ahead and cut this out. I'm not going to input my seam allowance right now. Once I want to cut on fabric, I'm going to input that. But if you want to input your seam allowance right here, you are very much free to do that. Okay, so can you see this is our front, and we are going to go ahead and then trim out our keyhole neckline. So this is the main deal for today. It's very simple, so you have to pay good attention to what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is right on the yoke. So from the center front of the yoke, the down part of the center front, I'm going to go up by 2 inches, and then I'm just going to go ahead and connect this to the line. Okay, can you see where I connected that to the dart? Okay, so because I want my keyhole to be kind of moderate, that's why I made use of these 2.5 inches. But if you want yours to be very obvious, okay, you can extend it. You can go upward more, like about 3 inches or 3.5 inches. So you guys, this is the front, and we are just going to go ahead and taking our bust that, because I almost forgot this. Okay, so I'm just going to, from the bust point, go down by 2 inches. This is the distance between our front and the back. That's why I made it clear that you're going to be needing your back length. Okay, so the back length is 15.5 inches. Okay, so and the front is 17.5, so they are 2 inches away from each other. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and connect all these lines. Now you guys, if you notice, I came out by 1/2 inch after I divided this line into 2 again, and then connected all this line together. Okay, and I'm just going to cut this, but I'm not going to cut it out totally, and then I'm going to go ahead and close up this gap. Okay, and after you close it up, you're going to go ahead and use your tape to hold it down and cut it out. Okay, so that 1/2 inch that I came out is actually so that I won't run short of fabric by the time I close up the gap. Okay, Now, so mates, that was all for the front. You are just going to quickly draft out the back. For this back, I already have my shoulder line, the bust line, and then the waist line. The only thing I'm not having here is the under bust line because it's not needed. So I'm going to divide my shoulder into two and mark it out, and then I'm going to come down for my shoulder slant, and from this shoulder slant I'm just going to divide my bust circumference by 6 plus 1.5, and I'm going to mark out the chest line, and then connect the shoulder slope into the neckline. And for this back, I'm not going to be making use of zip. That's why you can see that I didn't mark out any zipper allowance. But if you want to make use of a zip, you're free to add up 2 inches for your zipper allowance. So I'm just going to go ahead and divide my armhole depth into 2, like always, and then mark it out, and then divide my bust circumference by 4, mark it out, plus half an inch for armhole ease. Repeat the same thing for the bust point. That is my bust circumference divided by 4, you mark it out, go down to the waist and divide your waist circumference by 4, and also go ahead and mark this out, and then connect the lines together. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead from the center back, also mark out my nipple to nipple measurements, and then connect the line from the bust point to the waist line. Okay, so can you see? And I'm going to also take out my darts. So for my back dart, I'm also making use of 1 inch, and then I'm just going to quickly draw across my chest line so that I will be able to come down from the chest line by 1 inch. That is where your back dart is meant to start from. Okay, and then I'm going to quickly connect my dart legs. Can you see? And you guys, once I am done with this, I'm just going to quickly go ahead and connect my back armhole. And once I am done connecting the back armhole, I'm going to go ahead and mark out my neckline for the back. So for my back neckline, I'm going to make use of 4 inches for the wideness, and then 1.5 inches for the depth. Okay, and then use my French curve to connect this together. All right, so once you are done with that, now it's time for me to take out about 2 inches extra from the center back, because I really don't want to use a zipper. I want to make use of a loop, and also I want the loop to be very prominent. That's why I want to remove 2 inches. Okay, so I quickly went ahead to mark out the line, and then I'm also going to have a keyhole at the back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to, from the chest line, I'm going to go up by 2 inches. Okay, and then I will extend that 2 inches line that I marked from the center back, and right now I will try to determine where I want the keyhole to fall. Okay, you guys, if you notice, I'm trying to eyeball this. Okay, but I would advise that you come down from the neckline by 2 inches and then use your curve ruler to connect your keyhole into the center back. Okay, can you see? Okay, or you can go ahead and connect the keyhole directly to the neckline. Okay, that way you're not going to have button in between the neck and the keyhole. So I went ahead to replace the dart on the waist and then connected to the chest line. And right now I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. Okay, so I have my back yoke and I'm going to cut out my center back. Can you see? And also go ahead and cut out the darts. And you guys, that would be just it for this my back block. All right, and I'm going to place these like knots to indicate that I'm going to have a loop right at the center back. So you guys, that will be all for this tutorial. If it was helpful, please do make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done yet, and don't forget to turn on your bell to get post notification once I upload a new video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.